Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you.
Following program contains language and subject matter that you may consider unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
I'm going to pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
I think Jackal's Latino, I'm not sure, but he'll give it to you good.
The Jackal.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Inside the Jackal's Head. I am Angel Espino. We're broadcasting again live from New Logic Studios down here in sunny South Florida, but which has been kind of not very sunny over the last couple of days. It's been very cold. It's cooling down here now, and I am, trying to keep warm. And it's always a warm time in the South when I could talk to a good buddy of mine who I've known for a long time, and he's a hell of a filmmaker, a hell of a dude. This is a gentleman who you don't want to mess with because he'll put you in your place. That's what I'm talking about. The one, the only, Bill the Butcher, Wilbur Witt, is finally back on Inside the Jackal's Head. How you doing, my friend?
Getting along real good. Glad to know y'all are having cooler weather down there. It's 75 degrees here in Austin. But other than that, everything's fine.
Ah, good to hear it, man. It's funny because we're not used to that kind of weather here in South Florida. So we used to like be in the sunny, bunch. Like even at Christmas, we look at like other states and we point and laugh because we get like all the nice weather. Well, they're like like under like 5 inches of snow, but even Florida got snow this year. Crazy, huh?
I heard about that. In Southern California got it, it's funny. It's funny down here where we live. The snow stops at Mexico.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it's like the border, right at the border, right at the Rio Grande, it just stops.
That's awesome. So you have it's kind of like something that you're used to, or is this
So,
well, long, long is that? Yeah, it's just, life. How long is that?
you're skipping.
If that makes sense to ask the question,
Yeah.
sometimes it don't. Yeah, hold on, give me
All right.
audio. Ah, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yeah, no, that was my equipment like had an issue there. No, but like I was asking you, how often do you have that issue down there? Has it been long that that's been going on that the temperature acts like that, or is it global warming?
Same old, Angel. It's ever since I was a kid. The summer comes along, it gets 118 degrees, and all the people from up north that come down here to eat on the Riverwalk in August, oh my God, it's the end of the world. No, it's not. It's just summer. You're in a desert. You're in a desert, and you haven't noticed the lack of trees yet, but that's what it is. We never go to the Riverwalk. If you're a local, never go to San Antonio Riverwalk in August. We go on Christmas. You know, that's the silliest thing in the world.
It's funny how like these newbies and these young folks are always quick to like say global warming. Oh my God, the climate's changing, and I laugh because I'm like, yeah, it's always changing. It's been doing that since the beginning of the planet. If not, we'll still be like at ground zero, with like what ooze covering the planet and like
Yeah.
no continents and like evolution. It's a real thing.
Well, it's the same thing. Like I tell people all the time, talking to the kids, they bring up that. I say, look, where do you think the Neanderthals went? Well, Ugga Bugga and this. No. What happened is in Ethiopia, they had these people that were 6 foot tall, and they invented how to throw spears and things. Okay, and then you had these short, fat guys up in London or somewhere. And these guys never met because there was ice everywhere north of them. And all of a sudden, there was something called global warming, and these tall guys were able to migrate a little bit. And son of a bitch, all of a sudden, there wasn't no Neanderthals.
That's evolution.
Yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. Now, speaking of evolution, you've evolved since the last few years as a filmmaker. I was talking to you in private about this because I was blown away by the trailer I saw, and I know now this is over on Amazon Prime. Let's
Mhm.
talk about this movie you're associated with, my friend. Let me make sure I pronounce this right. Kalela.
Kyalea.
Hialeah, almost okay. So it's kind of like Hialeah, which is a Cuban thing down here in Florida. It's a
Uh-huh.
little city, but with a K. So Hialeah.
hmm It is. Kyalea came about. We were making, let me tell you the story of the film company that'll explain a little bit more. Um, Back when the pandemic first started, I was doing pretty good. I was all holed up here in this house and didn't let nobody in. I didn't go out and everything. And by, I got sick and I collapsed on the floor and all that good stuff. And so my family, being caring, kind people that they were, put me in an old folks home called the Wellington Institute for Quicker Dying. And
Oh man,
oh yeah,
Uh,
oh over,
that was during the beginning of the pandemic.
yeah, yeah.
So
And they
you're
stuck.
still around this, and as years later said there was no quicker or dying.
No, I did not
Yeah.
die. This gets funnier. It gets funnier as we go along. Okay, they stuck me over there. Yeah, they stuck me over there in this thing, and I'm laid up, and I kicked the COVID or whatever it was I had fairly rapidly. Okay, but then they did an MRI on me, and then they went, "Oh my God!" And they did another MRI on me, and then they said, "Oh man, we got to look again," and they did another one, and they finally came to the conclusion that I had Alzheimer's and I was in dementia. Okay. This is good. It gets better. It gets better because while they're saying this, 13 doctors from Scott and White, yeah, I'm gonna give you a
Uh
plug. Standing around the
huh.
bed, yeah, standing around the bed, acting like I'm Ted Bundy or somebody, and I'm sitting there with a legal pad, 14-inch legal pad, writing a movie script, you know, and that happened because the nurse I had a male nurse who was a nice guy, but he's always chatting with me and everything. He said, "What do you do when you're not in here?" La 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 la. I said, "Well, I'm a producer and I make movies and I try to make music and all that." So he wrote down the word dementia, you know. And anyway, they come gather around me and everything, and they start asking me questions, and they said, is there anything in your health history that we don't know that we, I said, like what? I remember from the moment I was born almost, well, anything that you might know, something you had that I said, well, let's see, I was 3 years old, I had polio in 1954, and they went, "Oh, polio." I said, "Yeah, I had polio."
Wow.
And I had encephalitis, okay, and malaria. And they went,
Well, the big three.
all at the same time. I said, "Yeah, well, it was Louisiana. It was a package deal."
Yeah.
so, and
Legit.
so
I've
they
been to Louisiana.
suddenly discovered. They said, "Did it leave any continuing symptoms?" I said, "Yeah, I'm blind as a bat on my right eye, and I can't hear anything out of my left ear. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good." And they released me on the following Tuesday. Oh hell! But anyway, I did have to convalesce. I did take a pretty good hit from the virus, and I had pneumonia at the same time too. I didn't throw that in. Uh, but I went to Tennessee with one of my wives, ex-wives, and we'll discuss that later. Anyway, yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah,
like hero right here. He's multiple women. Like he's
yeah. Anyway, I went to Tennessee, and she bought an estate up there in Dover, and an expansive porch on it with a view of the Cumberland River, which was really beautiful. And I was just sitting there, drinking iced tea on the porch, passing the time, getting well. I couldn't use my legs when I got there. Okay, I couldn't walk very good, but I got there and I was doing that. And Vic Quinton called me, who was an old music buddy of mine from Nashville and Austin, and he was trying to push through some screenplays. I knew absolutely nothing about screenplays, but I talked to him and everything, and he was having a big problem with these people out in Georgia and all this. So I jokingly said, "Why don't we just start our own movie company?" And he's okay. And so we did. We started the movie company right there. And we started with a movie called Gabe, which was what I was actually writing at the Wellington when they said I had Alzheimer's. Okay. We started with that movie, and we were working on it and getting tired and working harder and all that. And I had this basically a 5, 6 page little bit that I'd written 12 years before called Kailia Pala'alo. Okay, and let me tell you the story how that was written. This is good. This is really good. I was living in a garage apartment, and
Hmm.
after a party one night, I stayed up to about 1 or 2 in the morning, and I went to bed, and we drank a lot of whiskey and all that good stuff. And there was a runaway who was living in my room, sleeping on a pallet on the floor, which happens in Colleen a lot. But she's sleeping, and I slept for about an hour, and I got up and went to my computer because I couldn't sleep, and I was going to see if I could write something. And I watched her lay on the floor breathing, and for no reason at all, this idea come in my head. It was an idea about a girl who came from 10,000 years in the future, and she was a anthropologist, and she was in town looking for a word that they had no definition for: love. They were complete woke society that
Mm.
had no love, no emotion, nothing. She was born in a test tube, the whole 9 yards, And it was only about 5 or 6 pages, and I'll tell you one of the passages on there. It's really good. But I sent it to Vic. I said, "Hey, read this for a laugh. Just cheer up a little bit, just for the hell of it." He read that thing and developed it into a 96-page screenplay, just from 6 pages. And what's on the movie is an expansion of what I wrote. But he's a faith-based movie company at that time, and still, but he had to clean it up. He had to clean it up. One of the scenes in it we
Right.
could not use, but was, "You'll love this, Angel. You're going to love this to death. This is gold." There's several. It goes in one scene to another. It doesn't go in a chronological pattern. But
Okay.
she's running. She's sitting in the house, you know, going out looking at Austin and taking her notes of what love is. And in the end, it's got a very tender ending. But anyway, he comes in from work, and his mail is laying there on the table, and he tells her, "Oh, you checked the mail." She said, "Oh, yeah, of course. I just went down the corner, and I don't need your key to get in that box. I can open that thing any way. He said, "Really?" And then she casually says, well, he's looking through the mail. "Oh, you know that guy, the one with the beard and the motorcycle thing?" And he says, "Yeah, what about him?" "I think he needs employment." And what makes you think that? "Well, he asked me if I would give him a blowjob, and I told him that I wasn't very connected in town, and so I couldn't, but you'd be glad to give him one."
That's good writing. That is
Oh
good.
man, that was it. And in the end, the way the movie ends is Kylie marries Brad. Happy days. She comes back from the future, and she's spreading love around and all this. In my writing, where they had to change it, was they had a moment on the porch, okay, and obviously hooked up, obviously, and she kept telling him, "You can't go back with me, because if you go through the portal, you will age accordingly. And by the time we get to where I am, you'll just be an artifact on a museum table. It's all you'll be. So you can't go
Wow.
back." But anyway, when she's going back through the portal down Lake Travis,
We'll go
he told
forward
her,
in the future.
"Yeah,
Is
but
going
you can
back.
go
Yeah.
back, but you can't go forward.
Right.
You
Right.
go forward, you age. But she says,
Right.
"I can't go back." She says, "No." And he asked her, "What was the word you were looking for?" She said, "Love. We don't have that. We don't have that word." And I've had to find out what love was. And at that moment, she's stepping back in the portal, and she reaches down and touches her stomach and says, "But in a way, you are going back with me." And then
Oh,
ah, and you never
gotcha.
know who
Good.
she is. There's an extra ending on the written version. He's driving back through town a year later, misses her. She's never coming back. And he sees another girl sitting by the oil rig down MLK Boulevard. And he stops. He goes, I guess you need a ride too. And she comes around, gets in the car, and she says, yes. Looks at him. He says, Dr. Kailea said you can help me with my project.
Now, this thing has won awards. To the audience a little bit, like some of the stuff that it's
It's
been.
won Cannes Film Festival, Sundance in Utah, a bunch of awards out in California, Toronto, England, Sweden, 88 awards. I believe it's 88. Don't quote me on that, but it's 88 awards. Kyle Leo won a award for the script before it was ever filmed. You know, so we got an award for the script,
Wow.
all that kind of stuff, and then. Which amazed me. It really, Vic, he calls me up and he says, well, we just won this award. We won that award. Got a little, not an Oscar, but in England, they have a little award show and they give you a little Oscar, but for England,
Right.
we won that. We won
Oh,
that,
nice.
But, the film company, we're not as big as Paramount, but we have ambition. And we Miss Ashley Seal and Mr. Rusty Joyner. Y'all can Google that out there. They're real people and they're
Mhm.
real movie
Yep.
stars. And they're friends of ours and they helped us and they're in the movies. They're in that movie and they're in Blue Moon Rising, which is the one that we're in post-production now, which is about child sex trafficking.
Mm.
And oh yeah, we jump on stuff. But I tell you what,
That that's a great subject to talk about, especially right now with everything that's going on in the country.
oh yeah.
Like Sound of Freedom, all these movies are like, and documentaries coming out.
hmm
This is a topic that America needs to really pay attention to. So I'm happy working on something for this.
We've got one, and this is the one I called Vic. I said, "Can I talk about Carly?" Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so we got one that if you go up on Kindle ebooks, you can download a copy of the book Carly, Karly. Okay, and
Okay.
that's going to the screen. Now let me give you a rundown of this one, and I'll quit talking about these movies, and I'll answer embarrassing questions. But Carly, is a little story about a
Mhm.
beautiful little girl who's about 16, and she's going to go on mission for the Mormon church. And her daddy was killed in his store during an armed robbery, and she just wants to make her daddy proud in heaven. And she's got a little girlfriend named Tesla, and she goes and gets blessed by her bishop. And she's going to go. Her best friend Tesla says, "Let's go to the park. We're going to have a going away party for when you leave for mission tomorrow." She says, "Okay," and she goes. And before it's all said and done, she gets sprayed out in the back room of that damn RV and gets gang raped by five guys, okay, and trafficked. The
Oh my
only
God.
problem is little baby Carly, her daddy was a member of an inside group called the Danites, okay, from back in Porter Rockwell's day. And they thought it was really cute. She learned all their ways and how to throw a knife and all these little things.
Uh-huh.
And what happened was they give her some orange juice, which is not unusual for a little Mormon girl to drink orange juice, but they
Right.
spiked it with vodka.
Ooh.
And she got to feeling a little happy, and that's why she went to the back room with this boy that was playing with her knee. Well, he reaches down on her leg and he runs in her boot, he runs across something that confused him, which was her knife.
And
And
we're talking about a butcher knife, and not like,
yeah, it was a butcher. It was a buoy.
not
It
a
was a butcher.
flesh knife.
Yeah, it was one of them, and he grabs it because what in the world is this? And when he grabs it, she immediately grabs his hand, but she's a little tipsy and she's lost her edge somewhat, and they have a little scuffle over her knife, and then like she says, she stung him. At one point, she got the knife and stuck it through his left hand. Okay,
Ooh.
yeah, and then at that point, it got rough and they abused her bad, and ended up dumping her on her lawn with her bloody underwear on top of her holy garment.
Oh
And she
my.
had to go for treatment and hid, and the inside people hid it from the authorities and all that. And she came back all washed up and clean and everything, and then she went on the hunt for the five guys, and
Oh. So
and
she
she
becomes like a female Rambo.
yeah, you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe this girl. like Vic said, and our stuff is always real. It's something that you really can do. No magic flying through the air. No, she uses techniques that I heard about in Utah. Like this one guy, old drunk, goes in the bathtub, for instance. He's trying to soak off his party that night, and he wakes up in the bathtub, and she's sitting right beside him. And she looks down at him. She looks down at him in the bathtub and says, "Gee, Frank, you're not near as excited as you were the last time we met." Hang
See,
on, I'm
parents,
working. Yeah.
when you teach your kids survival skills and you don't put them in front of, like, say, RuPaul on TV,
Oh
you'll
yeah.
have a child that can actually survive and do some of these things in reality. I mean, this is, a story, but if you teach your kids right, you could
Hmm.
actually teach them to be like some, brave people that are actually going to be able to defend themselves. And this is like one of the things in America that's been happening. That, like, the softening of today's youth, where, like, they break a nail and it's like, dude, you're 6'3" and you weigh 200 pounds and you're like crying over a nail.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know what's funny? What with her, and that's what I talked to Vic about the details in Carly. She's 100 pounds.
See?
After she gets done like that in the RV, she's very careful not to get within arm's reach. Very aware that she's only 100 pounds. But once she reaches down, and she always tells them she's a good missionary. She reaches down for her shin on her ankle, and she goes, "If you will pray to Heavenly Father, I will let you go." And they always got some smart ass thing to say, and she cuts her throat from ear to ear. In fact, V, he's going to play the investigator in the movie, and
Okay.
with an English accent, and he talks to one of the bounty hunters that are looking for the who's doing these killings, right? And he tells the bounty hunters, "Look, she is a Danite. You don't understand. She's on mission. You get in between her and her mission, and she will cut your throat from ear to ear because she loves you."
She'll give you the Colombian necktie because she
You
loves you.
got it. You got it. But anyway, that's what we're doing. And then
That sounds great.
I've written two serials for Netflix that they're looking at. I understand from the people that tell me that one of them is called P for You, which I won't go into all that, but this is ridiculous. It's good. It's good. It's like Buster Scruggs. It's got six
Oh,
different
nice.
stories. Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I saw that. And that,
yeah,
man, that
and
was so
and,
cool.
and then the other one is Gasetomy, where it's three kids in West Texas, three teenage girl and her two brothers fall down a well and they fall into history. You know,
Cool.
they go all through history and learning. And they meet this 13-year-old boy named Julian, who is a guard for Julius Caesar. He fell down a well too. You know, and that we're going to try to sell that to the powers that be with with the education in there. The interaction between Julian and the older girl is
Uh-huh.
priceless. Like she's talking about Texas secession, right? And he says, "What is that?" So, well, we don't want to be with America. We want to be our own country. And he goes, "Who is the bigger kingdom? The kingdom of America or the kingdom of Texas?" He said, "Well, America's bigger, so that they will win and they will take you hostage. But that's okay because I will buy you."
Now, all these are going to be with Witt and Whittier Films, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's also the YouTube page. If you go to youtube.com at Witt and Whittier Films,
Hmm.
you'll be able to keep up with everything going on with the movies for everybody listening. Make sure you check that out after the show. Uh, this sounds great, man. I really like the trailer. I can't wait to, like, go on Prime and watch the movie and then give you my five
Absolutely. You
cents.
can buy or rent it. You can buy or rent Kalia. You can rent or you can buy the book Carly. You know,
Okay.
you can
Yep.
buy it. Let's see what else is.
That's on
It's on.
Amazon, right? We can get that on
That's
Amazon.
on Amazon. Yeah, on Amazon
Great.
Kindle. It's there. The there's another version of Carly coming out, an audiobook, and it is basically a movie in audio, complete
Oh,
with
okay.
actors' voices and the whole 9 yards.
And like, sound effects and the whole thing, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah, oh man. I listen to that thing all the time, and I wrote it. I mean, that good. Yeah, she said
Because
she
I'm
says
big
things.
in audiobooks now, so I love listening to like Doctor Who and a lot of the audiobooks. And I love when they add the little nuances, like the sound
Oh
effects.
yeah,
It's
the
great.
Carly, especially though, the girl that does the voice on her, that some is electronic and some is not. But that like she killed one of the people that assault her is a high school principal. Okay, and
Okay.
she catches him later. And tells him online that she's a 13-year-old girl looking for a hot time, and he is stupid enough to meet her. And well, where do you want to go? Well, take me up on the mountain. I like to go up high, and that way we can be alone. Yeah. And he goes, "Are you gonna make me scream?" And she said, "You better believe it."
Yeah. Oh man, these sound great. Let's not
uh,
give it too much away because I want people to like watch them when they come out. But uh, I mean, if people could go on Amazon and start picking up, the books, and I'm
mhm.
gonna try to purchase everything. I don't like, just renting it. I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna just buy it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
you can buy it. You can buy it.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
two
So
ninety nine
I'm
to rent, and I think it's $5.99 or something to buy it. And the audiobook I think is going to be $5.99.
cool.
And Vic is handling that. I don't understand how the audiobook audiobook.com is taking it. They're doing we do all of our own work in Austin. There's very
Yep.
little they have to do, but they want certain levels to be here and certain levels to be there. So we're letting them do their thing, but it's basically done. Uh, a warning for any of y'all out there that want to be writers or anything like that, be aware of these people that always want, just pay us so many $100 and we'll get you on all these sites and everything. Ignore those people. They're a bunch of liars.
Yep.
Um, they're going
Yep.
to use you and they'll take your money, and you'll never hear from them again, and you'll think you got something going on. You got something going on when they give you an award and say this is good, and everybody's looking at it. Or you're doing a
Right.
show like this. When you end up doing a show like this, and you're some guy from Austin. Now that means that you've done something, somewhere.
Well, hey man, you and me have been buddies for a long time. So even before this film, I've always had a lot of respect for you, sir. So I'm just happy that you're having all this success, especially when they were trying to say, yeah, let's put him in an old folks home because he's a goner. you
Yeah.
know.
Hey, I tell you what. I tell you what happened to me too. Uh, I didn't have an alcohol problem, but I was drunk for like 40 years, and honesty
That's
is.
funny. That's funny because I haven't had a drink since 2003.
I tell people. I used to tell people all the time. You have an alcohol problem. I said, no, I don't. I can afford all I want. but anyway, when I was in the Wellington, um, I went out into a garden to smoke cigarettes with all the old guys, and everything. And one day I was out there and I heard this screaming down the hall, inside. And I told old Ben, who's a naval retiree that was there just living out his days. I said, "What in the hell is that?" Oh, that's the TMs, or the PM. Well, anyway, the guys that are having withdrawal from alcohol, right?
Right. Right.
I said, "My God!" And it dawned on me. Wait a minute, that didn't happen to me. I got away with it. That's been 4.5, almost 5 years ago, and I ain't took a drink since.
See, there you go. It, you
Yeah.
know, it, it's all mind over matter. This is what I always tell everybody. If your mind is, prepared to, take one path, the rest comes easily. The people that have, I think, the heavy withdrawal are the
Mhm.
people that are like already their mind is so like addicted that they can't get off of it. When I
Yeah.
was young, man, I used to be really into drinking because my buddies and the people that I hung out with were all heavy drinkers. So it was something just, okay, I'll follow the crowd, and I got really, really into it. And then I had one bad experience in '03, and I was like, I'm done, and I haven't had a drink since.
Well, that's
And
the same thing that happened to me. Mine was that
yeah,
uh, moment of clarity, I guess is what you call it.
yeah,
I met,
yeah,
and when
yeah.
I was writing Gabe, I met the most interesting little character there, and it's in the movie Gabe. It's in the movie Gabe. I call her the Hootie. I guess she's about 14 years old, you know. And she was in there. I don't know what the hell she was in there for, but she'd been in there for a full minute, you know. and she uh, she mopped floors and helped clean the rooms, and that was part of her therapy, right? And she
Okay.
come cleaning my room one day, and I was sitting there, and I said, "How are you get a pack of cigarettes in this place?" I said, "You give me $13, and I'll bring them to you." Okay. I said, so I got the
Okay.
money. I said, "Here, I need 2 packs." No, that's 1 pack. 1 pack of cigarettes. Yeah. What's the $13 for? To get me a pack of cigarettes. and then she took off and came back a little later with the cigarettes. Come to find out, this kid, I guess, all I could pick up her. She was part of a drug cartel thing down in Houston. Her brother got killed and didn't
Oh
have no
wow.
pay. They grabbed her little Mexican butt up and put her in the Wellington or whatever, and she immediately started working a black market. You know,
Wow.
Any, these old people, anything you wanted,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want
yeah.
cigarettes, that's fine. You need some whiskey, I got it right over here. And her character comes up in Gabe. She helps them get a truck and everything to go looking
Uh-huh.
across the country and all this. And she's itemizing the stuff that Gabriel wants, right? And the character, she goes, "Okay, I'm gonna need about 20,000. Okay, what for?" It says, let's see, you're gonna have a green old truck. You're gonna need an RV. You're gonna have a sway bar now. You gotta have a sway bar, and you're gonna have bail money. And bail money. He said, "Hey, dude, you're the one driving across state lines with a 15-year-old girl, not me."
Oh, that's dirty.
Yeah,
There's a lot of kids that do come up missing. Do you think, moving away from the movie for a second,
yeah,
uh,
sure.
Mexico and Texas, I mean, this is an issue that has been underreported, I do
Yes,
believe, for a
yeah,
long, long time.
yes.
Uh, you know, being the year from the Texas area, why do you think is gone so underreported? Because I know there's, a lot of conservatives out there that have, for a long time been trying to like expose this.
They won't look. If a girl is 16, they're 14 or 15, they'll look, okay? But when they're
Uh-huh.
16, 17, 18, they take a report. But, well, yeah, because kids as far as New York, whenever somebody runs away around the country, we light up down here. They always it hits us down here. Have you seen Becky Toole? Because they all seem to come right here where Fort Hood is, okay?
Right.
Uh, and the cops know this. The cops know this. Well, my daughter was kidnapped. No, she wasn't kidnapped. She ran off with her boy, and that's what they think. And they
Right.
do underreport it. But there is slavery and sex trafficking, and that's what I had to tell Carrie, my granddaughter, who's in the other bedroom right now talking to her friends. Uh, I had to tell her she got down here from Brigham City, and she likes to wander at night. She likes to go out and try to meet her friends and all that. And I've told her, do not walk the streets of Killeen, Texas at night. They will pick you up and sell you. Oh no, they don't do it. Yes, they most certainly do. You
Mm,
know, you are a product, and they will hurt you. They will hurt you.
mm,
And
yeah.
they do that.
Yeah.
You see these girls all the time. The girl I told you about when I told you I wrote Kylie, I said
Mm-hmm.
I had a runaway.
Yep.
Um, sleeping on. She came and borrowed my room for about a week there, and had to have a place to lay down, sleep on a pallet. And I said, "Well, go ahead and lay here." But the good news there, later on, a couple of 3 years later, I was
Mm-hmm.
going through. Um, Taco Bell, and this real pretty little blonde leaned out, gave me my bag, and she goes, "Pops." I said, "Yeah, it's me. I'm
Oh wow.
Brianna." I said, "Oh, hi, Brianna. I
Wow.
got a job and I got married and I got a baby."
Wow.
Wow. Thank you. But she's rare. That's rare.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, no
rare.
kidding.
Once they get into
And,
that,
yeah, Yeah, it's tough. And she made a run for the border this time for Taco Bell. Good job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she said something horribly racist that I won't repeat here, but it was funny as hell. Well, I'll just say it because she said it, and it wasn't ugly. It's just because Clean is very multinational. Yeah,
Mhm, yeah.
she said, I got a baby. I said, oh, that's wonderful. She said, a white one.
She's already
Well,
American, you see?
I'm proud of you, baby. I'm really proud of you there. Thank you, baby. God bless America. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's not like uh, uh, everybody that's coming over the border is bad, and that's one of the mislabeling I think that
Yeah.
people put on this. There's a lot of genuinely good people that just are trying to, make a difference in their
Yeah.
lives and their families' lives. But
Well,
there's got to be checks and balances. Like, you can't just walk in illegally.
when
Especially like myself, I'm Latino and we got here legally in
mhm,
1980. We went through the process. We had to get documentation. We had to get approvals. We had to get on a lottery list, Bill, to be able to come from Cuba to the U.S. And
mhm,
we had to win a lottery that allowed us to get the ticket that was approved by both Carter and Reagan's administration. Get this, it wasn't easy. My mother went through the whole process with me and my half brother by herself. Okay,
mhm,
and for people like me that became citizens and we did it the right way, to see the way the illegal the stuff is happening now, it's really insulting, for a lot of us, and they wonder why Trump won the Latino vote by a big margin. Everybody was expecting like for him to like get destroyed by Latinos and by blacks, and it was like the other way around. Because the voting Latinos know what happens at the border,
mhm.
knows what happens in these communist countries. My country, Cuba. Guess what's been going on for the last 80 years?
Oh yeah.
Not, not good. And it's not just like Mexicans. And I live around a lot of Mexicans for my whole life. And right now where I'm at, there's a lot of Mexicans in the area, and they're great people. It's not the people, it's the trafficking that's going on of the children, of the women. Plus, you have the cartels coming in, and on top of that, and this is the worst part, Bill, the CCP nationals and the other communists from other countries that are sleeper cells that are coming into this country to ignite some shit, you know? And that's the problem. And we've seen this over the last 4 years, and I don't know how much this happened in Texas, but I know in a lot of other areas here in the U.S. where we've had China buy a lot of farmland, for example. Has
Mhm.
that been a thing over in Texas? Have you heard about any
Yeah.
of that? Huh?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. They come in, especially in Austin.
Hmm.
They'll have a manufacturing plant, and that'll be like an embassy. That plant is Chinese property, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but you were saying about the Mexican people, the people who live here. No, when I was growing up in Texas,
Uh-huh.
every Mexican family had some people from Mexico there, and we called them nationals. Those are nationals. They're not, they're nationals. Now they would come up across the border and they would pick the vegetables during the harvest, and they'd work their way all the way up to Kansas, all the way back down. They go back to Mexico and take the money home, and they come back next year, jump the border again, and they were called nationals. And it was like there was the Texas, and there was Mexico, and then there was a kind of a third area that was a kind of a multicultural, and these people didn't hurt anybody. They didn't do anything wrong. They worked for substandard pay. All they wanted to do was pick tomatoes, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
go home
And
and go home.
these are the jobs, by the way, that they say Americans don't want to do. And I grew up in the same, way. I lived in California. I saw a lot of this happen in the 80s. And it was common knowledge that these people were coming into the country to do these jobs that, yes, Americans just did not want to do. This is a
Mm-mm.
fact. Now, this was a very innocent crossing of the border, and we're not talking about the millions of people. We're talking about what, maybe seasonally, what,
Mhm.
maybe 1,000, couple thousand.
Yeah, yeah, just that. It was like
Yeah.
I heard a comedian say years ago about that they're gonna come here and take American jobs. He said, "Man, if a Mexican comes across the border and takes your job, you got a messed up job."
Yeah. Yeah, but see, now it's different. And not to be confused with what's going on today, because we're talking about the 80s and 90s where things were a lot more innocent at the border. Now is the cartels, the
Oh yeah.
drugs, and now is the trafficking of children,
Hmm.
which has gotten a lot worse. That probably has been going on for decades. But now is like in your face, and it's like really, really bad. And with technology, Bill, we're seeing more and more because we're seeing the drone footages, we're seeing the CC TV footages. We get to see children literally taking over the wall and just thrown over the wall and like, oh, I hope he survives, whippy, and then there he goes,
Yeah.
like a 5-year-old being thrown over the wall. And you're like, what human being does this to a child? I saw this in infrared footage. I almost like want to just to jump through the TV, just go after these people. Like, this is insane to throw. And they at least climbed up the wall with a
Hmm.
child. Then they like literally just threw this kid, and it could have been older than maybe 5 or 6. Threw the child over the wall, dropped him, and this is a long way down.
Oh yeah.
Dropped another one, okay, on the way down. They got up very slow. You could tell the second one was crying hysterically and like wobbly. And remember, this is all infrared, so it's not very clear like footage.
Hmm.
But you can see what's going on. And when you look at that, and you're like, where are the parents? Why are these kids being just dropped there? And the people that dropped them went back. They didn't go and jump over with the kids. No, they just let them like walk away. What happens to these kids?
Well, see, that's the whole thing is uh, it's people can't understand how horrible it truly is. When I say I see the Wells out in the Mojave in California for a while, that was another era I was in the last 10 years.
Right.
Um, we would have tables set up for food and everything, but when we go to bed in our trailers, we would leave the food in the outer ring of the cubby because we knew that people would be coming through on their. They drop them off at the border in Death Valley, which is where we were, and tell them Hollywood is just right over there, but it was like 400 miles away, you know. And then they'd strike out across the Mojave Desert, going to America, right? So we would leave water and food stuff out on the tables, and it would always be gone. It'd always be gone. They'd get what little water and food we left. Uh, but and they are people, and the, we've always been. I believe that Canada, the United States, and Mexico are all American. We're all North Americans, okay? And if we ever bonded together and formed a real pact, you know, a real union of those three countries, screw the Roman Empire. Ain't got nothing on that, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I
This
do.
is why, this is one of the reasons why people, when Trump said that maybe they'll go and try to, get Mexico to join the union here, and people
Mhm.
laughed at that. Remember, he said that, and he also said about going maybe and buying Greenland and getting the Panama Canal back,
Yeah.
and which they're in the process of actually doing that. And
Mhm.
now the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. Huh? How great is that? Uh, I agree. What they really need to do, and to end this complete, craziness at the borders, is, Mexico, USA, and Canada make one big country.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and
it.
yeah, and the clandestine racism. This is funny. I heard this from a Mexican guy. The way the clandestine racism, systematic race is a, for instance, he said, you know about Dora the Explorer, right? I said, yeah, everybody knows about
Oh
this.
yeah.
Did you ever notice how in every cartoon she stops at the river?
Yeah. I've only seen 2 or 3 of the episodes. I'm not a Dora the Explorer fanatic,
Well,
but I have seen them.
yeah, I mean, but she stops at the river, and I think, God damn, that's right. She never does get across that river. No, man.
Now, here's the thing though, and we joked about this, and just came to my head that we had joked about this before when this topic had come up in
Yeah.
conversation with a couple of buddies. If we were to unite Mexico, U.S., and Canada, and we would do like an acronym, CUM.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be
The
good.
country of cum. If Trump could put that in his administration and actually make that happen, and he could be the president of cum. Now think about
I mean, I've gotten away from my wilder days, but like
that.
I was doing an interview long ago. And that's why I say ask me any question, I'll answer it. But some girl asked me,
He'll be like, the country of cum will be huge.
I was doing an interview. I don't remember where it was. I was a drinking, but anyway, I was doing an interview down the hall.
So you don't remember.
And some girl with some newspapers asked me to dumb it. First thing out of her damn mouth, how many times have you been married? You know, and I was in one of my moods. I told her, I've been married 6 times and divorced 3. Just real calm, And that let her in, just what happened to the other 3? And I looked at her, I said, I kept the good ones.
I would have just been like, why do you think they call me the butcher?
Oh man. But it's been this thing with the movie thing though. Uh, we were like Vic had it's faith based, it's Christian.
Yeah.
But we approached it with Carly. She and the psychological stuff in our movies, like with Carly, it points out that she has psychological problems that are tangled up with her understanding of morality. She truly believes if she cuts your throat and your blood touches the ground, you automatically go to heaven. You know, so woo, and so we got that in there, and trying to get, like you said, the kids that are getting soft,
Yeah.
letting them know, as you know from my history, we found out when I was up there, I am descended from Porter Rockwell, and I didn't know that till the Mormons told me.
Yeah.
But they told me that and everything, and so I started studying the Mormon history, and God Almighty, it was rough on those people,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, phew, But I think but Porter he was wild. He did the worst story I heard about him was, and I was told by somebody up there. He was a town marshal in Salt Lake for a while, and some 2 boys went and stole some horses. And back in those days, that was a capital offense. They took off, and he tracked them down in the desert, in Escalante, and caught them. And basically was going to tell them, okay, instead of taking you back to Salt Lake, I'm just going to take you over to Colorado and drop you off. Don't come back to Utah, they'll hang you, So he was sleeping, and they got up that night and tried to beat him up and take off, right? Well, that didn't work. They took off running across the desert, and old Porter shot him in the leg. And he took them and and he stomped them to death with his horse. Put them on the horse, took them back to Salt Lake to give to their widowed mother, and told her there to raise better kids next time. So I want all you Z generations out there to think now, And on the other hand, when they were building the temple, they were building a temple in 1874. They finished it in 92 or so. He got up one day, and Brother Brigham was out there with all the dignitaries watching the stones being laid. And here come Porter on a unicycle, naked except for his gun belt, boots, and hat. And he was riding that unicycle around the temple,
That's visual.
shooting his pistols in the air for one of Brigham Young's baby-making wives while she giggled.
And then wonder why the aliens want to talk to us.
Yeah, and the digging told Brigham, "You need to stop him. This is a indignity to this holy ground and everything." And then Brigham told him, "I ain't stopping nothing. That son of a bitch is crazy."
Yeah, to segue a little bit, I wanted to actually get to this before we
Yeah.
run a little bit
Okay.
over because we only have a few minutes. But I wanted to
Okay.
ask
Go
you,
ahead.
'cause this has been a big issue over here in the East Coast, and you being from Texas, and I know there's been a few reports, but has there been any drone activity in your area?
Actually, no.
No,
Actually, no.
no, really, no reports.
I think the main reason is I live at Fort Hood, that area of Fort Hood,
Right.
and I think we have so much of that activity here that we don't notice if it increases or decreases. But I haven't heard of anything like that. What we have heard now, when you live in this area and you were in real estate like I was, you can
Uh-huh.
tell when a C-130 flies over,
Mm-hmm.
that takes troops and everything. And we've heard C-130s heading for the border, and they're either heading for the border with troops or they're heading for the border to drop people off for the other side.
Right.
There's a lot
This
of
is
activity taking people out of here down south.
this is why I bring this up because with the whole border situation going on, I would
Mhm.
expect there'll be a lot of drone activity as a lot of people are probably trying to get footage, hobbyists, maybe some intel for other countries, whatever the thing is. Because my reports that have been coming in, Bill, has been that most of the stuff and I've been talking about this since last year, by the way. There's nothing new.
Mhm.
Is that most of the stuff that's been reported is just that. It's mostly hobbyists. Just we've been selling drones for the last few years like crazy in this country, and also there's been, like I said earlier, the CCP nationalists that have been coming over. They've been
Mhm.
buying farmland, and they're executing some of their drones themselves. And that's a lot of the stuff that's being going on in Jersey and other parts of the country. So I was expecting Texas and your area down there to have a lot of activity, as I think a lot of these spy drones are.
I'll have to watch for that. Like I said, we have so much of it around Fort Hood
Yeah,
that we wouldn't notice it. There's little things that like that. One thing that caught me completely off the subject, but about flying in Jersey and that area up there. That crash where that helicopter hit that plane.
yes,
But
yeah,
like, I asked my wife, one of my wives today, I said, look, they say that the plane couldn't see the helicopter for the wing or this or that, but I
right.
watched the film of that helicopter hit that plane, flew straight into him.
Uh-huh.
Three Army men on there trained to do it. Didn't they see that damn plane?
Well, the one actually driving the helicopter was a woman, and this lady was involved with the Biden White House
Oh
and
boy.
was appointed by the Biden administration to work with the Pentagon and to fly these Black Hawk helicopters. Which is why, remember, that Trump said, well, there could have been some DEI
Mm-hmm.
associated to this. This is what he's getting at. Remember, Trump doesn't always say right off the bat, this is exactly the issue, but he's going to tell you more or less what the intel is without fully exposing anything. This is called 4D chess, and Trump is a master at this. So when
Mm-hmm.
he's telling you this could be DEI related, guarantee you it's going to turn out that way. And he said this before it was revealed that it was a woman pilot
Ah.
associated directly with the Biden White House.
Mm-hmm.
And she worked directly with that administration. Now, my question is this is going to be heavily investigated, obviously, but could this have been a suicide mission by this pilot? And will her family inherit a lot of money because of it? Is that could be a possibility, or maybe? Being a leftist liberal, which this person was, because she had been under the influence and just was piloting maybe a little stoned, a little drunk, and that's what
Well,
caused it, you know?
we have with Fort Hood or Fort Cavanos or whatever they call it now. We have lots of helicopters here, and they
Yeah,
train flying so close to the ground that they hug the hills.
right.
Okay, they're good
Yes,
at. They're actually. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. They're actually good at that. You know,
right,
staying so
right.
low below the radar they can hug the ground. Where's her ability at?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, she didn't pass any major, tests to do any of this stuff. Literally, that's what they're saying. She could have been a DEI hiring. And
Hmm.
that is a major issue, major, major issue when it comes to these kind of things. And now we saw another explosion a couple of days later after
Yep.
that. And now this is the get into like the territory of like, well, one could be, this situation we're talking about, but now when there's two a couple of days related, now this is going to make people not only afraid of flying, Bill, but now investigations have to go into like what's going on here. Why are these accidents all of a sudden happening? And
Hmm.
we have one related to the Biden White House, including we of course have the DAs and one after Trump, all associated to the Biden White House.
Hmm.
It's starting to look like maybe some of these people associated with that White House are maybe in cahoots. You think to do some of this
Well, yeah.
stuff? Yeah, I mean that's what I'm kind of like feeling here.
Yeah, but like I said, what I said on the onset of what we're talking about is knowing how these guys are trained here. And this pilot, I didn't know it was a woman until just now when you told me, but this pilot, I saw the helicopter approaching this thing for many, many, many meters there.
Yeah,
And these people are used to dodging rockets.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
he missed a damn plane? Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Wait a minute.
And that look, that plane had really bright lights, man. Stevie
Oh,
Wonder and
yeah.
Ray Charles could have seen that shit. Let's be honest. I mean, you'd have to be either really, really high or on a suicide mission to like,
Something.
do that.
Something.
But I wanted to get your intake on that before we ended the show here, which we're almost out of time. But
Okay.
because I do think these things are dangerous for anybody who flies a lot. You got to be very careful now because you never know what's going to happen on
I've
any
already been
short
told.
airplane.
Already been told by my people. After that happened, it's as a matter of fact, because we're talking about having to go out to Hollywood and meet with people there and everything. I said, "Well, I'm taking a train." That's
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna train. Well, a train.
Dude,
Yeah, I'll just hang around the club car, and it may take a couple
yeah.
days to get there, but I'll get there.
At this point, I'd take a bus
Yeah,
instead of a train.
anything.
I don't even trust trains right now, Bill. It's dangerous, my friend. Listen, I gotta have you back on sooner. I took a lot of time off because of my health, but I'm back on,
Yeah, glad
and
you're back.
thank you, my friend. And
Yeah.
I definitely want to bring you back on soon, and talk more to you about, especially the future projects you have. I love the fact that I can get to Amazon and order this movie, a
Hmm.
Kaelia, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna watch it, and then I'm gonna tell you whether I give it thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs up the booty. You don't want the thumbs up the booty,
Hey, let me
but
tell you one last thing on that before we go to 11. We were doing,
but
Kylie steps out of a portal, right?
uh-huh.
And and we were trying to come up with we did special effects, all our own CGI, and we couldn't get it right, couldn't get it right. And Lee, our technician, called him. I got it. What he did was he took a sewer pipe, 8-inch sewer pipe, and he cut it half in two, and he put it up, and he put saran wrap over it with sparkles around it. And so when you see Kylie step out of the future,
Uh-huh.
she's stepping out of a sewer pipe.
Hey, you gotta get creative.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Again, the website is whitandwhittierfilms.com.
That's
Uh,
us.
Yep, Whit and Whittier Films also on YouTube. You can check out the trailers there. Go to Amazon, get the books. Go to Amazon Prime, watch the movie.
Mhm.
Bill, you're an awesome human being, my friend. Thank you for being on the show. And again, we're going to have you back on pretty soon. Thank you for
All right,
doing
thanks
this.
for having me.
We'll talk soon. Guys, gals, and everybody in between, you know who you are. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again soon on Inside the Jackal's Head. Until then, stay safe, stay sound, and stay alive. And stay warm. It's kind of cold outside. Yeah, so much for global warming. And till next week, peace, everybody. Remember, don't start any civil wars from here to then.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat?